A new controversy, but this time with the referee in the semi-final we saw in Venezuela. The number ones Coello and Tapia versus Galan and Chingoto. Second tournament for Team Galan and second final in a row. But in the final in Brussels, the referee made two controversial decisions that we will see next. Because before the final, Paquito and Lebron made their debut, Miguelito Lamperti returned to the quarterfinals, and the Super Pibes lost for the first time before the semi-finals. Hello all players, I'm Pablo and I welcome you to a new 4set. We were expecting less surprises in Brussels, the first indoor tournament of the season, but it was not the case. Paquito and Lebron made their debut in the first round against Chippy and Javi Garcia. And from the first moment we could feel the nerves in Paquito and Lebron. Actually, they lost the first set and were close to losing the match, but they managed to wake up at the right time and take the match. The nerves showed even in Paquito's match, which was only 28% effective. But El Lobo put the team on his back with 30 winners in the whole match. So after that match, Cardona and Javi Ruiz awaited in the round of 16, although it was an easier match. But in the quarterfinals they will face their first real test, Coqui Nieto and John Sant. A much more tactical match with points lasting on average 4 rallies longer than in the first match, something crazy. But if anyone expected a total domination of Lebron and Paquito, it was not to be. Because Coqui and John Sant worked every point and managed to win the first set. Actually, there were doubts on Lebron and Paquito's bench about their style of play. There, Lebron asked Paco to be more aggressive when he generated the play, but Paco didn't see it the same way. Anyways, well managed by Obide, who calmed them down and managed to win the second set. And there happened one of the anecdotes of the tournament when the referee made a mistake with Lebron's partner.
The game, Lebron Galan. Correction, Navarro Lebron.
He said Lebron and Galan. I love it.
Like the video if you still say Lebron and Galan in the same sentence. Finally, Coqui and John Sant were better in the match. 52 winners for 43 of Paquito and Lebron, and only 18 non-forced errors for 26 of Paquito and Lebron. So first tournament together for Paquito and Lebron with positive things but with work to do. Also, it is normal that something like this can happen. In the end, both Paco and Lebron are two very temperamental players and getting nervous affects them more than the rest. And this week, playing in Seville can be very good or even bad for them. They will have the whole crowd on their side, but the extra pressure of playing at home is very big for Paquito. And they won't have an easy draw, as we will see next. Because in fact, the possible round of 16 is really complicated. But we have to talk now about the number ones Coello and Tapia. Because it has probably been the most difficult tournament they have had for a long time. They have been very close to losing in the round of 16 and in the quarterfinals, but finally they have managed to reach their 5th final of the season. And that is very valuable. When you play bad and manage to win, that victory is worth double. In the round of 16 they faced Capra and Chozas, and Coello and Tapia lost a set. Capra and Chozas made it very difficult for them, but finally the number ones managed to win. And if that had been difficult, the worst of all would come in the quarterfinals. Because did anyone miss Lamperti's Fridays? Well, after a long time, Lamperti returned to play in the quarterfinals again, but this time together with Beluati. And what a way to play together again, because they managed to beat Alex Momo in the round of 16 in their debut as a pair. And in the quarterfinals against Coello and Tapia, they had a match ball in favor. So stop and think about it. Coello and Tapia were only 1 point away from losing in the quarterfinals against Lamperti and Beluati. That shows that the level at which Miguelito Lamperti and Juan Cruz Beluati played was incredible. But as I said before, winning this way is worth double. In the semifinals for Coello and Tapia waited Garrido and Yanguas, who had achieved the impossible. They have beaten Stupa and Dineno in the quarterfinals. Because if I'm not mistaken, since September 2023 in Paris, Tupan Dineno had not lost before the semi-finals. It is true that they have already lost in Doha against Garrido and Yanguas, but that time was in semi-finals. And once again, the Spaniards shone. A very negative first set, but an incredible comeback to confirm their extraordinary start of the season. So, do you think Garrido and Yanguas can become the number 3 pair in the world? Well, anyways, in the semi-final against Coello and Tapia, even though the match was tied, the number 1s will reach their 5th consecutive final in 5 tournaments this season. And who was waiting in the final? Chingolan, Ale Galan and Chingoto, second tournament for them and second final. They had reached the final without making so much noise and with quite comfortable victories. But logically the hardest part was going to be the last one, Coello and Tapia. A match in which the strategy of Chingoto and Galan was clear, to direct the game towards Coello. Because Arturo, as Padel Intelligence statistics show, touched 58% of the balls. So this way Galan and Chingoto managed to cool down Tapia, who by numbers was the worst of the match, and that is very strange. 24 non-enforced error for Tapia with only 22 winners. Coello at the same time had 24 winners and 10 non-enforced error, while Galan had 32 winners. This way the first set was for Team Galan by 6-4, but in the second set a lot of things were going to happen. Because Chingoto and Galan had 5 match balls and Coello and Tapia managed to save all of them. But then the controversy arrived. Break ball in favor of Coello and Tapia to take 6-5 and serve in the second set. Galan serves and this happened.
Surely not this time. Touch on the net, they both went for it. Let's have a look.
Vale, pero la que sabe es la cámara. Entonces, si la pelota la saco por 4, que ya no se sigue.
Yeah, he's saying.
La pelota, la has cantado, la pelota ya está fuera del 4. Pero que
He's saying he said touch before.
Ya está terminado el punto.
The ball flew over the.
The referee, also the video review confirms that Coello doesn't touch the net, decides to replay the point. According to the umpire, he calls touch before the ball goes out by 4. Because here we must take into account that once the ball goes over the 4 meters fence, the point is over immediately and it's not necessary that the ball bounces twice. In the video it is very difficult to check if the referee says it before or not. But in my opinion, common sense should apply here. If the referee calls it a second before or after, but the ball was 100% impossible to return by Galan and Chingoto, why not to give the point to Coello and Tapia? Galan and Chingoto decided to continue playing the point as if nothing happened and managed to win it, to which Arturo reacts like this.
Underneath it again. And why to compose themselves here. Now, the warning.
Y a ti, para. Wait. ¿Y a ti quién te pone el warning? Por tu error. Porque, perdónale. No, pero espera. Tú cometes un error. Nadie te putea. Yo cometo un error.
He's saying you made a mistake and now you're punishing me. But he needs to calm down here, Coello.
Te conste aquí que yo me merezco ese warning, pero tú también te mereces un...
Coello and Tapia will reach the tiebreak and a new controversy will happen.
It's called a let.
Prepare the points.
¿Te repite el punto? Qué mal lo estoy haciendo.
Tapia smashes the ball, the music suddenly starts to play, and once the point is over, the referee asks to repeat the point. But this time, thankfully, Galán and Chingotto concede the point to Coello and Tapia because obviously, even if the music hadn't played, the point was won by the number ones. So they managed to force the third set, but there, Galán and Chingotto will do magic. They will win 6-2 and get in their second tournament together their first title. In this way, Galán is the third player with whom Chingotto wins a title after Tello and Paquito, while Galán is his fifth partner after Mati Díaz, Mieres, Lima and Lebron. And after winning the tournament, Chingotto and Galán had this to say.
Yo creo que es una pequeña muestra de lo que está preparado el equipo, que es tropezarse y volver a seguir. Se nos negó en el segundo set, eso fue un golpe duro para la cabeza, pero bueno, todo el equipo junto supo darle la vuelta. Felicitar a Agus y a Arturo, que sin duda siguen siendo la pareja a batir del año porque tienen un nivel increíble y son grandes jugadores y personas.
En un inicio de proyecto no te puedes poner unos objetivos en cuanto a resultados y en cuanto a entrega. Creo que esto lo estamos haciendo todo el equipo desde cada entrenamiento y cada partido. Creo que estamos dejando todo en pista y luego los resultados están siendo increíbles. Venimos de hacer final en el anterior torneo poniéndoselo difícil, como dice Fede, a la pareja a batir, Arturo y Agus, que llevan 2 años increíbles.
With this victory, Galán and Chingotto are placed as number 2 pair in the ranking ahead of Paquito and Lebron. Galán and Chingotto's adaptation has been very fast and that is to be admired. Chingotto's game is very good for Galán, who managed to be more aggressive without missing practically more. And Chingotto is bearing the pressure of playing with Galán very well. So with this result and the Venezuelan result, the debate is open. If Coello and Tapia are the clear number ones with 3 titles and 2 finals in 5 tournaments, which pair is right now the number 2? The Super Pibes are still struggling to reach the finals and Paquito and Lebron have not made a good debut. So are Chingalán the second best pair? Anyways, this week Premier Padel doesn't stop and there is a tournament in Seville. There, Paquito and Lebron could have a rematch in the round of 16 against Coqui and John Sand. While on the other hand, Galán and Chingotto will face Coello and Tapia in the semi-finals. So who will win in Seville? Leave your opinion in the comments and thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next one. Ciao!